I'm your host, Annie Bowles, and this is News du Jour. Hey, you guys. Hate to say it, but I'm having a sick day. If anybody watches my Instagram stories, you guys already kind of know. It's not even just one thing. Like, I wish that it was. I have like a series of infections that I've been dealing with for the past like week and a half, on top of leg cramps and things like that. And these are pregnancy symptoms, but they just throw off my whole system, unfortunately, with my gastroparesis. So, of course, I'm going to use this as an opportunity. If you don't know what gastroparesis is, we have a bonus episode about it, and particularly about my experience with it, which does not look like everybody's experience. But I go into how I dealt with it, how I deal with it on a day-to-day basis now. It's a deep, dark story of the whole thing. Anyway, I'm not feeling great, so today might be a little bit shorter, but I wanted to get you guys an episode and get you guys a quick update. So let's dive in. First up, we're hitting 2 million refugees coming out of Ukraine. So the slow trickle of refugees has really been accelerated in the past few days. The headcount spiked from approximately 1.5 to 1.7 million refugees to a solid 2 million, like in what feels like overnight to me. I don't know exactly when that was declared, but the people of Ukraine are really realizing that it's now or never as the Russians move inward on them. What's more, 1 million of those refugees fleeing are children. Seeing as many adults have to stay either to fight or to stay for their job, it's families with children who are really fleeing the most. That said, only 1 in 7 Ukrainian children has actually left. So there's still a lot of children left in the country. It's just, it seems like those are the people who are leaving first. And it's absolutely heartbreaking, but approximately 4,000 babies have been born since the conflict broke out. Many of these babies, as you can imagine, were born in bomb shelters and basements and subway stations. Surgeries have been undergone in horrible circumstances, and definitely not clean circumstances. And my heart goes out to all the new moms who are just trying to survive there. But all of those who are fleeing are facing sub-zero temperatures, long walks on foot, and as we're seeing, journeys that can take them across rushing rivers on mere wooden planks. Civilian casualties right now are high, you guys, as Russia continues to do things that feel like they're targeting civilians. And this is illegal. This is not kosher for wartime practices under international law. So just so you guys know that. And they will be held accountable, but there's just not really anything that can be done like during the conflict, I don't think. But there are conversations happening with the U.S. where we are not so subtly encouraging Russia to stop targeting civilians. So we'll have to see if they yield to that in any way, shape, or form. It's not likely. But McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and Starbucks are officially pausing their sales in Russia due to the ongoing conflict. Several iconic American food brands have announced that they will be closing their doors in Russia. These companies will certainly lose money, which is why it's taken them so long to take action. Sales in Russia make up about 9% of the company's revenue for McDonald's, for example. But economic pressures are really what could end this soon, if anything could. The companies that produce milk and baby products like Pepsi and Coca-Cola do are going to continue making those. And McDonald's did announce that it would continue paying salaries so as not to leave their employees stranded. It's a moral dilemma, to be sure. And that's actually going to be it for Ukraine updates for today. Next up, we're going to talk about rique Tario getting indicted. And we have one more story for you guys after that. It's pretty brief. But anywho, for those of you who might not know this name, good for you, girl, honestly. Rique Tario is the head of an organization called the Proud Boys. Woof. Where to begin on them, huh? They're exactly what they sound like, a group of chauvinists, proudly. Wikipedia defines them as a, quote, far-right, neo-fascist, and exclusively male organization that promotes and engages in political violence in the United States, end quote. I tried to find a website for them where they may have their own definition of what their group stands for, but I was really struggling to find it. I don't know if it was just like buried amid all these like news stories about them, but I couldn't find a website for them. But they're widely known to be primarily misogynistic. That's the common theme here. But they're also openly Islamophobic, transphobic, and anti-immigration. And yesterday, unsealed documents revealed that a grand jury has indicted their leader, Rique Tario, with conspiracy in the violence that occurred on January 6th at the U.S. Capitol. Now, what's really interesting to me about this move is that Rique Tario actually was not physically in DC that day. He was in jail. So he had actually been arrested just a few days earlier for vandalizing a BLM banner at a church. But despite the fact that he was not physically present for the attack on the Capitol, prosecutors believe, and I guess the grand jury did too, that he was instrumental in planning the storming of the Capitol and actually was in contact with other leading members of the Proud Boys group who did indeed storm the Capitol that day. He also reportedly met with other key groups just days before the attack, one of them in like a parking lot. Not going to get that image out of my head, but that was the Oath Keepers leader, another major group that helped storm the Capitol, but there were more groups. There was a number of groups that he met with in the days leading up. 4 other Proud Boys leaders are actually part of this same case, so they kind of lumped them together. Maybe they all were in on planning it. There's not a ton of detail out about this, but it is major. So, of course, we will keep you guys posted on how it all unfolds. And for our final story today, lynching is finally officially recognized as a federal hate crime. It only took 200 tries. So seriously, it took them long enough is close to all I have to say about this. But I do want to give you guys a little context of the event that took place. So we all know that lynching packs a historical punch. We know it was commonly used as a threat, as well as a terror tactic in the American South. Well, really all over the United States. Let's be real. And it has been over a century that legislators have been trying to get a bill like this passed, declaring that lynching a Black person is a federal hate crime. And ironically, when it finally passed, it was a unanimous vote to pass. Isn't that how it always seems to go with civil rights in general? Not just in terms of race, but, gay rights and things like that as well. You fight and you fight and you fight for so many years. And then one day, everyone seems to have woken up and it's a done deal. It's hard to understand, for me at least, but I'm glad that at long last, this day has come to do what's right, especially for those who still live in fear here in America. And that is the news du jour. Today, I wanted to leave you guys with the quote, "You only get what you put in. Don't expect more until you do more." If you enjoyed this episode, please consider becoming a patron of our podcast. For $7.99 a month, you can unlock tons of perks like breaking news text messages so that you're never out of the loop. Tons of bonus episodes are already up there ready for you to binge, and a discussion board full of networking opportunities and much more. Go to www.patreon.com/sugarfree media today to become a patron. This is the best way to support our show. Our patrons make News du Jour possible. But a couple other ways to support our podcast are rate and review on whatever podcast platform you use to listen, share on your social media, you have influence, tell your friends, family, and colleagues that you love News du Jour and why you listen. You can also follow us on social media under sugarfreemedia.co on Instagram, just sugarfreemedia, all one word, on TikTok, and sugarfree_media on Twitter. We also have a weekend newsletter called Dreamers Digest that's full of dreamy content recommendations for your weekend and a life update from yours truly. Sign up today on our website, www.sugarfreemedia.co. Our music is by Joey Lavoie and Nicholas Foster. Our cover art is by Hannah Pierce Photography. Our Sugar Free Media logo is by Catherine Jezik Designs. Any twinkling or little footsteps you might hear in the background are by my dog, Rhett. He's a rescue pup and always records with me. We appreciate you listening and look forward to telling you about the news again next time on News du Jour. Broadcasting from Oklahoma.